to make sure that this remained a meeting where people were able to learn something. We understand you have concerns and issues. We don't want it to become a yelling match, as it possibly could. So we will proceed. I have to yell so people in the back can hear me. We are happy to proceed on the basis that you've asked. However, we want to make sure that it remains civilized and that we can answer the questions fully. If you don't agree with the answer, then you can ask a second question. Please don't, get into the mix, because then things will fall apart. There's so many people here today. We want to give everybody a chance. That's what's important. We do want to answer your questions, okay? So what we'll do is we're going to, if you can hold your hand up one at a time, and we will try to get to you in order. If we miss you, just keep your hand up and we will get to you. Try to make sure that your question is not too long, so that we can possibly repeat it if people are having difficulty hearing. Okay?
There we go.
Okay, let's start it. Actually, we have a lady. Why don't we just move from front to back? We've got a lady in the front, and you can be second. How's that sound?
Can I ask a basic question? Is Armatec under contract to the Canadian Department of Defense?
Okay, that's a question, and what I said was, let's just start in order and answer questions. That's what we're going to do, sir. Okay? All right, we go first, this lady goes second, if that makes you feel better.
You don't answer the question.
Okay, is Armatec under contract to the Canadian Armed Forces in any way for this application?
Armatec has different contracts with the Canadian Armed Forces. Some run short time, some run longer time. Everybody hear me? Good. Okay. So we have different contracts for different programs which go on. Aside of the contracts we have, we do our self-funded R&D to stay ahead of the game. So we need to know where the next threat levels will come up for and have to have an answer for. So it's too late if somebody gets blown up in Iraq, in Somalia, or wherever the guys are, and then we react to it. We lose too many lives, so we have to stay ahead. So we use a lot of our own R&D funding to come up and know what we have to do next.
Carl, thank you. So you're not under contract to any Canadian federal government to perform this testing?
For some testing, yes. For some testing, we are under contract.
Seats, and I applaud your organization. Can you give me the contract number and the copy of the statement of work for the federal government that you're under contract to perform this test?
We have contract numbers for that.
I can't find anything on Department of National Defense or in the Canadian government, Merck's system, that suggests that you have a contract to perform this type of testing with the Canadian government, Canadian federal government.
We had contracts, we will get contracts, and we have right now contracts, for example, with the US.
So you have a contract.
Hold on. Say, paid for the development work that we could protect the Canadian soldiers.
That's fine, but not here. Not here.
Yeah.
So you have a contract with the United States government, then, Carl, as I understand? You have a contract with the United States government for this type of testing?
We have contracts with Canada and the United States customer, and I don't know the numbers out of my head, but we can give it to you after the meeting.
Carl, with regards to the track, do you have a contract to test these vehicles?
At this point, no. In regards to the track, what the intention of the track is, when we put these plates to the vehicle, we have to perform a test to show that the vehicle can drive as before, because we add weight and obstruction to the drivetrain. And that is why we do that and drive them around the circle to prove that they work again.
So there's no contract with the government, which implies there's no statement of work that confines the activity in that area, correct? So there's no defined statement of work that you have with...
For the contracts we have, there is a statement of work what we have to comply with, but please understand, most of the work is the work for the future. If we wait until the government can give a contract, we lost the war. It's 2 years later.
I understand, but that would go over to Major, I'm sorry your name was?
Bruce.
Bruce? That goes over to you. I mean,
He doesn't speak for the Department of Defense.
No, I understand. I understand your part. I'm just questioning. You recognize this as an issue, would you not? In the old days, would you not go subcontract to somebody and say, "Hey guys, go figure this out"? How do you protect our troops better? And a company like Armatec would respond to a bid. They go, "Yeah, we'll do that."
In an ideal world, we used to do that. And many times we did do that.
Carl, we're confused here. Shouldn't we be doing the presentation and then having the answers?
Let's answer this question and then let's give you the information.
And then we'll do the presentation. Thank you.
Let this gentleman speak.
Yeah, I also lived the trials and tribulations of federal government procurement, which I won't go into.
You should.
No, I should, but that would make me a politician.
No, it doesn't.
You're right. Any company, you have a statement of requirement, produces a statement of work, and then contractors bid on it, essentially. What we found is because a lot of contractors during the peace dividend didn't do R&D, the products they had to give us when we went into Afghanistan were either non-existent or substandard. So unfortunately, not just Armatec, I'll speak to defense companies in general. Unfortunately, or fortunately for us, they have to fund their own R&D. So they have to do testing, otherwise they don't have a product to sell later on to bid. I don't know if that answers your question or not. Like, you don't get a contract unless you do the R&D. It's kind of that chicken and egg thing. If you don't have a good product, if you got a set of snowshoes and a guy wants a snowmobile, good luck.
Don't go away. I have a question for you. It is about this. It's about the Department of Defense contracts. Okay, you're aware of this? That the Department of Defense speaks for the soldiers. They are the voice of the soldiers. The voice of the soldiers went to the federal government in June of this year to stop a project involving Armatec. A contract to build with General Dynamics vehicles, CCV vehicles. The Department the government rejected the plea by the Defense Department, saying that, well, the Defense Department was saying, our budget is slashed. We don't want this money put here. We want it in direct support of our troops. Armatec was asked for a comment. No comment. Did not reply to the request for a comment. Why? Why did they not speak up on the part of the troops that were asking, that their voice, the Department of Defense was asking them, stop this? Can I answer it? Because today, Armatec's survivability is totally separate from the confiscation that are protecting the soldiers. Their mandate is to sell these kits to governments. The government rejected the Defense Department's plea. Armatec had a chance to stand up and say, wait a minute, if this is contrary to what they want, we'll step back and back off. Where was your community spirit, your support the troops then? Thank you.
No, that's a good question. I spent most of my career in procurement. You speak to the CCV project. Without going into a whole bunch of details, I was painfully aware of that project, and it was it's difficult without sounding disloyal to them. It was a project that was on the books purely because it was all political. It had nothing really to do with the department. I understand what's in the paper. There's what gets published in papers, and then what working guys at the working level actually know to be fact. So when you want to balance a budget and you have something that's on the books that's worth, say, $2 billion, that's a no-brainer for a politician in an election year. You just say, right, you cancel it, regardless of whether it's a valid project or valid equipment.
One final calm statement. Armatec, when they described what they wanted for their survivability, company that says right there, we deal with governments. Government, lawful government. If he is dealing with government, it's strictly a matter of money.
I would argue anybody that deals with the government to sell them goods and services, it's about money.
You're right.
Whether it's General Dynamics or Lockheed Martin or anybody, it's all about selling products and making money. That's how you stay in business, whether you're a general contractor or a defense contractor.
What I'd like to do just is to make a couple of points for you that we were not able to do through the presentation. What this meeting is about is to try to explain to you how because what I'm hearing the comments are, but not here. And what we'd like to explain to you is why this site is appropriate and why it is not going to harm your property. Okay, whether you end up with... I would like to. What I'd like to do is to be able to explain to you the planning rationale that we went through, the site selection process that was done, and why this site is appropriate with its large size and its separation from your properties, okay? So I'd like to do that first, and then once I've done that, I think it'll limit the questions which really are not relevant to this application. Okay, I know you're curious about how the business works and who makes money where and all that kind of stuff. It's really not of relevance.
Carl, start the presentation.
Put it behind your house.
Is it possible that we can start the presentation to get some of the information out to you?
Yes.
So let's go and start with the presentation and then we do the question.
Can I just ask one question before we begin? I'd just like to understand, Mr. Pfister, what benefit you say the cottages on Benore Lake are going to derive from explosives being transported to the area and the use of explosives in the area? What benefit are we going to get out of this?
Can you repeat the question so we can hear it back here?
That will be covered in the presentation.
I asked, what benefit is
I will
there?
repeat your question. So the question is, what benefits do the cottages around Benore Lake receive when we transport explosives to the site and do this test? Is that correct? Yeah?
That's correct.
So, if you look at this, if you look for a benefit of it, it will be some benefit of local employment here, a development here. So don't shut everything down before you hear it.
Yeah. Carl, just do the presentation. It'll cover.
The impact what you have is very, very minor. It's probably more harder to hear than what we hear the noise level in this room.
That's not a benefit, though.
So now, the safety template around our test site, it's basically, that is a big area which is untouchable for anything else for development. So you get a belt around you where there is nothing, it's pure wildlife, there is nobody going in there. If you want to see that as a benefit.
There's no benefit. Can we have the presentation?
Okay, sir,
Let 2 minutes.
we're going to proceed. We're going to proceed with the presentation now, and then afterwards we will go back to the questions as you had asked us to do. Okay? So I just got a few words to say about the planning application and what we're asking the municipality to consider. Okay?
Anybody from the municipality here?
Yes, there is.
Where?
They're here. They're in the corner over here. Pardon me?
For rezoning?
That's correct. Rezoning and official plan amendment.
So, I understand you're private company, that's fine. Where's our counselor?
This, as explained, okay, I understand the question, sir. What I'd like to tell you,
It's zoning for purpose.
right now it's zoned, okay, that's part of what I'd like to tell you about, sir. Could you let me give my presentation first?
I would like our representatives or counselors to explain why would they even
I can answer that. There's a very straightforward answer to the question, why would the council consider this? Legally, they have no choice. Under the Planning Act, an application is filed. The municipality has to consider that application, and from there, they hold public meetings. It's a very public process. They find out, first of all, we had to submit a report explaining how it fitted in with all of the local policies, and then there's a requirement for a public meeting at which time the council asks for your comments formally, okay? This meeting is an additional... This is an additional meeting which has not got anything to do with council. They are here because they want to hear what you have to say, but this is just a meeting being hosted by Armatec as part of our process to try to get the information out to you. But please understand that the township has not given a position, okay? They are here to listen. They have accepted, as they had to, a complete application. And from here on, they will continue to consider the application. They will weigh the comments that you are making today in their decision in the end. And the other thing is that the actual public meeting is coming up on the 3rd of March. Those of you within 120 meters, in accordance with Planning Act regulations only, will have received a notice. There is no legal basis for the township to extend their circulation. So if you have a concern about why you didn't get a notice, that's why. So anyway, what I'd like to do...
What's the matter on the other side of the lake?
Would you like us now to continue with our presentation?
Yes, please.
I think overall, gentlemen and others that have been speaking most, there is a lot of people here who do want to hear the presentation. We understand that some of you are maybe less interested in hearing it, but that's your choice. But there's a lot of people here who want to hear it, so we're going to do that now. Okay?
Can you turn out the lights, please?
Get the lights down for the presentation.
Where's that? Anybody know the light switch system? I think it's over there by the door. Especially at the front here. Thank you very much.
With the white shirt?
Okay. Some of the things I've said already, but rather than try to piecemeal it, I'm just going to say those things again, so bear with me, okay? It's our hope that the information which we will be providing you with today during our brief presentation and the answers that we will give will help to allay some of your fears and will provide you with answers that are helpful to you. We ask that everyone here today be respectful of each other. We also ask that you be respectful of those who are in attendance to provide you with the information you are seeking. Be assured that we will do our best to answer everyone's question today. If we're unable to provide you with an answer to your specific question, we will follow up with you next week or as soon as we possibly can to give you a full response.